parking lot behind me, there's an ambulance. I mean, it could well be just in case someone needs it, on the police side of things. But let's keep our eye on it. Let's see perhaps whether or not the suspect ends up being taken. From this point, this is the scene I was describing to you earlier. Right in front of that ambulance is the spot where about 15 or 20 members of law enforcement were sort of huddled and peeking around the corner, because it is in that parking lot behind that building where the ambulance is parked that we were initially trying to shelter in place, trying to avoid gunfire. That's where we were standing when state police said, you got to get out of here because the gunfire is coming this way. The other end of that parking lot, so another 100 yards or so in the other direction, is that chain link fence and the retaining wall that I've been talking to you on the phone about for so long. That's where police had maintained their defensive positions.
Yeah, that was actually a great way. Gave us some excellent perspective there, Jim. It was frightening to hear about your position earlier. Looking now at a live picture of Mount Auburn Hospital, we see a Cambridge police SUV pulling into the emergency area of that parking lot, right there to the front door of the emergency room. This is probably only a couple miles away from where Jim was just talking to us. And Jim, the activity around you, we can hear the helicopter overhead, but there must just be a tremendous sense of relief where you are.
It's difficult to put into words. It's my job to try to put it into words, I suppose, but I'll tell you it's difficult to do because hearing that applause start and coming from the officers who were furthest away, you weren't exactly sure what it sounded like. I mean, it sounded like applause, but I thought to myself, well, that can't possibly be what it is that I'm hearing. But of course it was. That's exactly what it did sound like. I mean, it's that rapid fire popping that the most recent time I'd heard that was the gunfire. You're exactly right. But it sort of spread slowly in a wave, as I described it, because there were officers way on the other side of that building, beyond where the ambulance is. Then they were just about, you see where those officers are standing now in the distance? If you can see them, that's where the other group of about 15 or 20 were standing. And then there were some more way up on the hill. I had described earlier officers sort of crouching as they ran up a hill. That's the hill I was describing, because beyond that point is where all those triple-deckers are and all those houses, which do remain in darkness tonight, where all those houses are. So the applause sort of followed down that way and then ended up to right about where we're standing now. And then again, you just saw all the members of law enforcement relax. I mean, truly, this is what it must mean to let down your guard. They relaxed and they started to walk away, which was the only time I had ever seen their faces. Their backs were to me the entire time, again, as they trained their focus straight ahead on where this guy was.
And how nice it's going to be for people in that Watertown neighborhood to see those police cars going the other direction now and out of the neighborhood as that ambulance you mentioned just passed behind you.
And Jim, also thank you so much. It was good coverage, and I'm glad you're safe. And it takes a lot of bravery to be out on a situation like that, especially when bullets are whizzing by and there's a shootout going on close by. So great job out there, and again, glad you and O'Halloran are safe.
Yeah, great to have it have ended this way. And here you see just the caravan of law enforcement leaving. This is when I was talking about all the dozens of cars that raced here along with us. This is them leaving, hopefully for the last time. What a story they can tell. Someone shouting, "We got him, we got him." They're happy, and they deserve to be.
Yeah, did we just hear cheering behind you, Jim?
You did. I think it actually may have been some civilians who were just hanging out nearby. But to come to this other side here, these are some of the folks, beyond there, some of the folks who happened to have had by accident a front row seat to what was happening. So when they heard the gunfire, we had to sort of run down a little bit. They just walked across the street from where they were, and they were able to get a front row seat. I've just lost my phone connection to you. I will call you right back.
All right, outstanding. And to see that picture of the people standing in the doorway when Jim was in one of those more precarious locations there, with police having moved him back into that parking lot, he was describing seeing children there, teenagers there. Now we get a sense just how close they really were and the kind of shelter they needed to get for them.
So now we get, this respite, a time for you to take an exhale and relax a little bit. But now, comes the hard work. If this suspect is up to it, and if he's still going to survive the night, or he'll survive at all, then federal agents, their job is to kind of dig down, find out what made this kid tick, what made them want to do what they did, were they connected to others. And you hope and you pray it was a lone wolf situation, but if it wasn't, then obviously this story will go on. But for now, at least this chapter, the most dangerous so far, it seems, is closed. And maybe the story still goes on, but at least tonight, the two men that they were looking for, one is dead. These are the two guys that carried those bombs into the Boston Marathon, according to federal agents. Those two guys have been dealt with. One is dead, the 26-year-old, and the 19-year-old is in custody on his way to the hospital, and he is wounded. And you know, hats off to law enforcement. They have done an incredible job. They've worked some very long hours. They've worked under some incredibly stressful situations to their families, because every day when they leave the house, you know, they're worried about their loved ones. They saw the carnage left behind from the bombings, and they knew what they were up against with these people who were throwing bombs at police. So many people have done so many incredible things that all